it would not be an increase to revenue, it would also not be a 17% increase to ratepayers. If we're doing 0%.
You adopt this, these people are gonna get
The goal,
15 to 17%.
the goal is to do it through the remainder of this fiscal year, so we can move forward with your 218 and your proposal. Because the goal is to have pretty much the rate stay similar, gives you a little bit of a decrease. And then, because if we just abandon anything right now, and then the 218 that we're working on, that we talked about, because I like yours the most. But if it fails, then we're stuck. So, does that make sense to you? The zero.
Minors, if you adopt this,
I'm not saying adopt it, I said 0%, with 0%, because that is not a 0%, that's a 4%.
so you're not saying to adopt anything.
I'm saying to adopt that format with a 0%.
With a 0% instead of what's proposed.
Excuse me, is public comment over? I was going to speak and I don't know what's happening here.
No, it's not over as long as we're talking.
So, to be correct, the board did have public comment.
Yeah.
So, public comment is over, but if you'd like to.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Hold on.
I didn't hear anybody close to comment.
I called for last call, and then I asked for board comment. Any further comment after that?
Christina? Oh, I'm sorry, before we jump into that, I just want to make sure that we're doing everything appropriately. Director Calvin's, when you said, move forward with the current Prop 218, but at a 0% through the fiscal year, what happens after the end of the fiscal year if there isn't some other kind of lower rate schedule decided upon?
So,
So you're saying you're not adopting what has been put forth, but you have no
what I'm asking,
plan?
so the plan is to get feedback from my colleagues on whether or not they would prefer to move forward with the consultants recommended, but start at 0% for the remaining of the fiscal year. Give the community options. If they like what's been proposed, then we end up keeping it. If they end up liking Director Baker's with the 218, then we can discuss it. I kind of want to give the community both those options at that point, side by side.
Right.
Because I think the community deserves that, but
But why adopt it?
because the current system does not work, in my opinion, and I'm not in favor of keeping it forward.
Well,
If I may then, it seems much cleaner and less ambiguous, especially for the public's benefit, is if you were to adopt the rate schedule but delay the implementation by several months. I mean, you could delay the implementation for as long as you feel necessary in order to workshop Director Baker's proposal and any other potential proposals that come up through that workshop process. And in the meantime, prior to or shortly after the actual implementation date that you decide, you can decrease those rates. You don't have to go through the Prop 218 process to decrease ever. And so it would make more sense and be more clear to the public what's going on if it was a delayed implementation rather than an adoption with a change to 0% to start.
Okay.
Something, because it was confusing for me.
So then, if it's confusing, then I would say, you know what? I would say I would do the 0% for the remainder of the fiscal year, and then move to the 4.5% revenue increase for the remainder of the consultant's study. That would be because at that point, you know, I'm not going to keep this current system. I'm not going to vote to keep this current system. I opposed it in 2018. I was accused of voting for it. I've received some pretty nasty feedback. I've received some false statements and slander against me. I'm not going to keep this system. I'm not going to keep the current rate system that's in place now. So it's either 4.5 as is with a consultant, or 0% for the remainder till July, and then move forward with a 4.5% increase. Those are the only two options I'm going to back at this point, until we can figure out how to make Director Baker's proposal work. You know, that's where I stand on that. Because anything else, when we keep having the rumor mill go on, even if we approve it tonight and we don't implement it, we're still going to have the rumor mill. I'm not going to do that BS again. So.
Would you like to make a motion then?
I got something to say,
Yes, sir.
if I may.
Of course.
Number one, I mean, I read the consultants thing. I don't want nothing to do with that. That is, and as far as, you know, you start out at zero, it's still gonna be an increase at zero.
So I ran basic numbers at 0%. It's essentially 12% increase for somebody at 12 units.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's a rate increase.
No, it's still a rate increase. There's no
Right,
doubt about that.
right.
There's no question there.
So what I would like to propose, let's keep our current rate, the ones that we get billed for every month until we can have further discussion on any rate increase. That's a rate increase, even at zero.
No, it's a 0% net, or gross revenue increase to the district. That's what was proposed. It was never 0% to any of the people here.
I know, to the people that pay the bills.
Right.
That's my point. You know, we don't need a rate increase. And as far as people saying, well, we can always lower it at a later date, I went through that after the last rate increase. I talked to the general manager, I said, man, that's a heck of a buck, because the water rates for that last increase more than tripled over the 4 years. And so on, you know, for everybody. So I said, you know, I was talking to the other general manager. He said, well, soon as we get in the black, we can lower it. Yeah, well, it certainly hasn't lowered, you know, because we were in the red when you guys went after that last rate increase and so on. And then, like I said, I just don't like people being dishonest with I was a member of the public then. You know?
I was here.
Yeah, I just don't like, people lying to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the right thing. So, I think we ought to just keep the current rates until we can have further discussion on any rate increase or decrease. I doubt there'll be a decrease. But before we can get this, because I read Director Baker's, his is 3 times better, you know, than consultant. I don't think he charged $90,000.
Well, we haven't gotten the bill yet, but,
Yeah, right.
so,
So the way I understand it, the only way to have 0 increase to the ratepayers is to maintain the current rate structure.
so the only way to have a 0 increase to anybody is to stay with the exact same rates that we have today.
Correct.
So to have a 0% net revenue gain to the district would be an increase to some,
Exactly.
yeah, because you're changing the systems
There'd be an increase to the bulk of the people.
to the 5 to 12,
Right.
to that same range.
Which is close to 500 people. Okay.
Yeah, no benefits to the district, I might add.
So, you know, it's up to the board to move forward or not move forward. From my perspective, and to Director Davis's comment, I'm not the previous managers. That Director Davis, you are on the board now, and you're going to be on the board, I believe, for the next 2 years at least. So if we were to change rates, you would be directly able to do that. If we were going to lower rates, you would be directly able to do that.
I'm just one person.
No, but all it takes is 2 to get something on the agenda.
Yeah.
And once it's on the agenda, then it has to be discussed. And that's how that starts. Even if the rest of the board doesn't want to do it, at least you have that discussion. You have more of an option than you did in the past.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, this is, I say, just leave current rates like they are. Don't use anything on this consultant and everything. And then, like I said, we can have a discussion, maybe a public meeting or something, and let the people know what they're facing. That's the simplest way to do it.
So I just need direction from the board on what they would like to do, either in the form of a motion or something.
Okay.
Public comment at this point, please approach the lectern and sign in.
My name is Susan Green. Been sitting here listening to this meeting, and I guess, is it okay now to have questions? Because you wanted to table that till later, so I'm just wondering if now's the appropriate time to do
So
that.
public comment is for you to ask questions, and it's for the board to, after public comment is closed, to answer the questions.
Great, that, I just want to make sure I'm
If
doing it
they
right.
choose. So,
Right. My statement is, I'm listening to each one of you individual folks and your opinions about how this should go. I have to tell you right away, I oppose adamantly what Mr. Calvin said about giving the break to people to fill their swimming pool this summer. I have a hot tub that I haven't filled for 2 years. I took my grass out and put cactus in so that I could be a good steward of my water, and you want to give people a break for filling their pool. That's all I have to say about that.
Did you want to ask your questions and they're not going to answer?
If you have public comment, please come to the
I'm gonna read this. I'll read it. You guys have heard it before. Stone Green. This statement was originally addressed to Kelly. Anybody here?
Yes.
I'm gonna stand this way so that everybody can. I'm reaching out today regarding the proposed water rate increase and change in the C.S.D. billing practice. I oppose the change in billing and don't believe a monthly fee for our meters is fair, as we have already paid the price for those meters through years of paying the water rates and connection fees that compensated the district for those costs. Please rethink this first. Secondly, in case you haven't noticed, due to your receiving periodic salary increases, the rest of us in the district have not received those generous benefits. We are in the midst of record-breaking inflation. Those that are on welfare or Social Security don't have a penny to spare. It's called fixed income. That will never keep up with back-to-back rate increases. This community has been a social, economically disadvantaged status over the 3 decades I've lived here. Others coming after found affordable homes here because they couldn't afford to live elsewhere in the county. Everyone is struggling right now. Thirdly, it's my understanding that you received the proper number of opposition letters, but chose to disqualify a significant number by your own hand, and chose not to consider all those customers that are clueless about the 218 process, or were not able to, or too naive to participate. I know that inflation affects the C.S.D. as well. I believe most of the folks in the community would agree and understand the cost of doing business. But please keep in mind that the district is running at a surplus. That's also something the average person doesn't have the luxury of. So the district already has a clear advantage of surviving this downturn in the economy. Please don't fuel the fire. Let me ask this one question, and please privilege me with an answer. In order to avoid such a large rate increase, would you and your entire staff agree to a 5-year salary freeze? That's a good question. Because that's what's affecting your budget.
Actually, this next one will be great. In relation to Calvin's suggestion, 0%, the people in the middle are still getting socked with a 12% increase, and the 0% net gains nothing for the district. So that it seems like it's counterintuitive. If you're raising the rates to generate more revenue, but sticking it to the bulk of the people who again are struggling to pay their bills already, that's counterintuitive, it makes no sense.
Have any other public comment? Okay, board, what's your pleasure?
Well, I think the rates should, for the time being, should stay the same. And basically leave the
Is that a
current.
motion?
We want a motion now?
Well, are we gonna continue to discuss it, or are we gonna do a motion?
Well, I was going to discuss it. I was going to tell you what I think.
Well, then the whole board has to discuss, we have to have more public comment then.
No,
All right.
you don't.
All right, go ahead.
So to keep the rates current, I think there's only two options. Either we table this for right now, leave the rates current, or if you wanted to pass this and then defer the implementation of it until July or a later date, until there was opportunity to refute some other alternatives. I think that's the only two options you have for keeping the current rates what they are.
I mean, it's unfortunate that we have this information now and, because there is one thing that I liked about this new, process that we had with the consultation, reducing the lower tier, but it does significantly raise the middle. So, I know it's a tough situation because I am concerned that what's going to happen is you do another 218 process and there's going to be further misinformation out to the public, and so nothing's going to move forward. How long can the C.S.D. sustain at its current rate?
If we do absolutely nothing, then depending on the actual inflation, we could have 5 years, we could have 10 years. Right now, we don't have a lot in reserve, but we are keeping above what our cost is. So depending on what inflation is, if inflation goes into double digits again, then we could be looking at 2 or 3 years. If we have a lot of breaks like we're having right now, if we have any sort of major catastrophe that costs us a few $100,000 or even $50,000 a couple times, then we could eat all the reserve we have in a matter of 1 or 2 years, and we'd be, for lack of a better term, we'd be paycheck to paycheck. So I don't encourage the board to put this off indefinitely. If the board wants to continue it to a future date, then that's the board's prerogative. If you would like to approve the proposed rate and have it effective July 16th or some date, any date really, then you can do that. That would give you time to investigate other rates while discontinuing the discussion on this particular rate. And it could be that we get there and you guys vote to put a stay on it for another few months. So the other option is that we continue this and have a discussion about Mr. Baker's proposal and see what the feeling is at that point.
Yeah, my biggest concern too is I don't want this board to repeat the errors of the past board where we don't do anything and then there has to be a huge catch-up, and that's very dangerous.
And that is why 5 years ago the rates were increased so much, because the board didn't do enough to prevent the deficit that we had fallen into.
Right.
So if it's the board's desire to approve something to make sure that something happens, then it can be effective anytime. It could be, a stay could be put on it at any time. So really the only thing you'd be committing to at that point is the structure once we change to that structure. So if the board would like to motion to continue this to a future meeting, then it has to be continued to a specific meeting. If the board wants to approve the rate structure as presented, then we can approve that and have it effective at whichever month is the board's pleasure.
I'd like to make a motion.
Sir?
I motion to table this.
So we continue.
Huh?
The
Okay.
motion would be to continue.
Continue and leave the current rates, what the people are getting billed right now, leave it until we can figure out something else.
So in order to complete that motion, we would have to have a date to continue it to. So without approving rates, any continuance would ensure that the rates that are currently being charged would be charged.
Yeah.
So I don't have the dates for the other things. Do you have the?
Yeah, so it would be, what's it, April?
So which month would you like to continue it to?
April 25th, we got May 23rd, or fiscal year June 27th.
June 27th.
So,
So we have a motion by
That
Director
right there.
Davis.
motion?
Yeah, okay.
So we have a motion by Director Davis to continue discussion of this item until June
27th.
27th.
So,
Let's see here, we got 1, 2, yeah, 27th. Just want to make sure it's right.
Do we have a second for that motion?
You know, that would give us a lot of time to figure this mess out.
So I don't see a second for that motion. Is there any other motion or any other direction?
you know, I'm gonna just be honest, I'm adding the numbers here. Even if we do approve the consultant's recommended 4.5% increase, 46% of all rate payers will see a rate decrease. So, I mean, I'm flexible, but, and then also I also want to just say real quick about filling up people's pools. Look, I support families, you know, along the lines of we help donate to keep the pool free, and if the pool's gonna be closed, you know, someone's gotta keep, you know, support the kids of this community. And then also under that proposal, those who do put in cactus and then have 0%, they are gonna see a rate decrease. So, you know, I'm flexible. Mr. President, do you, and
It's like,
Rest of the board?
How long does it take for us to schedule like a study session for the public? What the given usual, if we wanted to have a couple study sessions to invite the public in
I
to,
mean, we could have one on Monday if the board wanted to.
what's reasonable to get the word out so people,
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
typically.
I would say at least a week, 2 weeks would be better to have enough time to get the information together would be taking the longest. So get the information together, post it, and be able to put that information out for people to digest it.
so it'd be like April 11th, Thursday.
Will you have a Hispanic translator there for the Hispanic community? Will you be able to pull something
Excuse
together
me.
that quick?
Excuse me, we can't have members of the audience just shouting out.
I
Please,
have my hand up.
please. Well,
I also had a question. So, the rates, billing is done the 15th. is it?
Yeah.
Okay. How many days in advance does something need to be approved or not in order to change to affect that billing cycle? Like what day is it, like the 10th, like if the board have this meeting on the 10th or earlier? Or did the board have a vote on like 13th? How does
Well,
that?
it would be better if we had the vote at a regular meeting and we
Right.
had the implementation the 16th following a regular month meeting. That would give us enough time to have the rates changed in the system and ensure that people would be billed correctly.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
I may make a suggestion. We've done a lot of water rate workshops, and one of the things that members of the community have said has been really helpful is if they receive a bill, and the workshop is shortly thereafter when typically customers receive their bills, because then they have the most recent reference to look at what the changes would do, and when you're workshopping with them, how that would affect their bills. And so if your billing cycle is on the 15th, I don't know when you mail them out or how long that takes. Tends to be more informed if that.
We bill on the 15th, but it takes a little while to get to people, so the next Thursday.
Dr. Baker, you had a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we continue this until the May meeting.
May, that's here, 23rd?
Yep, and that we schedule a public rate
Informal workshop.
informal workshop, I guess to go out with I guess it would be the April bill, so we would have it either in beginning of May, somewhere in that, or either one or two workshops, and then get the public's opinion, get all the directors a chance, to study and look at what I did, because you just can't drop something like this on anybody and say, yeah, vote on it.
That's the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the
To
motion.
continue to May 23rd and schedule an informal workshop.
I second it.
April, the workshop in April.
Whatever you guys.
I second.
But I like Christine's idea about putting a notice in the bills.
Yeah.
So that,
Public comment is closed.
Baker,
I thought
seconded by Dr.
We're making a
Davis.
motion here. You're trying to interrupt in the middle of a motion.
By raising my hand, I was interrupting?
Well, what are you doing? You're asking to talk, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, public comment, sir, public comment is closed.
So I have a motion on the floor to continue to May 23rd regular board meeting by Director Baker, scheduling an informal workshop when we can, probably April. Second by Director Davis. Are you good with that still?
Yes. The only thing I want to point out though is when we send out these in the bill, it's like the population of San Miguel is probably at least 50%
You can
Hispanic.
get it translated.
And we need copies in English and,
Just so you know, I got one sheet of paper.
okay,
That's what was provided before.
yeah,
Okay, so now we're gonna have a vote, all right? Director Davis,
yes.
Director Calvins,
Yes.
Director Gregory,
Yes.
Director Baker,
yes.
President Smiley,
Yes.
passes 5-0, no absence.
Second motion is that when we have the discussion at the public workshop, unless Christina's gonna say I can't have something on this. Wait, I'm looking at you, Christina.
This is what you're gonna say.
I know.
Go ahead, and I'll let you know.
So, I would like to make sure that at that public workshop, that we have Director Baker's proposal, make sure that it's gonna be there, and I would also like, because I want to make sure that we have both things presented, that's why I want to just make sure it's specifically stated out, we're not just talking about this thing. And I have repeatedly, through the conversation I've said, I like Director Baker's proposal, and quite frankly, if the committee likes it too, and they show up, then I think we should move forward.
Hey, we have something, I like it too.
Yeah, informal workshop in the public.
So it's not necessary to make a motion for that. That is direction to staff. And
Thank you.
just so everybody understands the nature of a workshop, you, all directors and the public are welcome to bring ideas. That's why it's a workshop. No action will be taken. It will still have some formality of directors speaking, public commenting, and back and forth as the chairs, decides. But it is informal so that everybody can bring their ideas together. So if you want staff to specifically have things prepared, I suggest that each director reach out to staff in the meantime and let them know what they want brought forward at the workshop to be prepared to discuss.
Yes, I definitely want some of the capital list
Okay.
discussed as well.
And I would like one of those sheets of paper so the public can look at it.
I have nothing else.
Okay, perfect.
And just for reference, if anybody wants the spreadsheet that was handed out, please let me or Tamara know, and we can either email it to you or give you a copy.
And get it posted on our website?
No,
It
that
can be
would,
posted on our website, but we can provide a copy because it was handed out before me.
Can you include it in the water bill?
It's not just.
but just so you know, as a board, if you want to get any handouts or anything like that, we need one in the public meeting.
Okay, well, Kelly has it.
Okay, and I'll make
So
sure.
we'll give it to whoever wants it, but just as reference, anything handed out at the board meeting has to be provided to the public. And we will get back to the board on dates for potential workshop at the end of April, beginning of May, somewhere. Or not the end of April, middle of April, or beginning of May.
You guys do it for Thursdays, right?
Okay, so, yeah.
We're good, moving on.
Okay, this time we'll adjourn.
No, we're not that far.
Public far, but
We've been here for a while.
We got the building
not that far yet, huh? Oh, the building part, I thought that was good. because-
So we have item number 3 under board action items, adopt revisions to the district water and wastewater billing policy, resolution 2024-02. I'm recommending after you take public comment that we table this item until the May 27th.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I recommend we table this until May.
Okay, board have any comment on that?
No.
Public comment, please?
Couldn't hear.
Public comment, we're on, it's number 3. Review and approve resolution 2024-1 authorizing the general manager to execute proposed appointment.
You're on the wrong one, so
To adopt the billing policy. The billing policy. Yeah.
So for reference, this is to adopt the billing policy. I'm asking for it to be tabled. It is directly in reference to the rates passing, so there is no reason to discuss it until the rates pass. If there is any public comment, now would be the time to do it.
Okay. Public comment.
When do we get to ask questions?
I said public comment, please.
Do you have questions about the billing policy?
I have so many questions.
About the billing policy?
I was told you could come to these meetings and get questions answered. And I've asked 3 tonight and not gotten one.
If you'd like to come visit me in my office or give me a call, I'd be happy to talk to you.
All right, thank you.
So, any board comment or motion to table?
Motion to table.
So we have a motion by Director Calvin to table it until May.
Second?
Second by Director Baker.
A motion on the floor to continue, resolution table resolution 2024-02 to the May regular meeting by Director Collins, second by Director Baker. Director Baker?
Aye.
Director Gregory?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes, but I got a question. Okay, we just,
We're on number 3.
number 3, no, we already,
We haven't done number 3, we're on number 3.
This is the billing policy.
So we're not